Guys, I think we are live. Hope everybody's having a great day. We're gonna work on getting loose. I'm gonna keep this glove for actual golf. What's the plan for today? Maybe a little speed training, maybe some ball striking drills. Can think about, reflect on this morning's round. Played another 9-hole match this morning. No camera. That one, it wasn't on film because of the rain. only the truest of 9-hole match this morning. No camera. Only the truest of sickos. Julian said, "Whoop whoop, first one in, first one out." Thanks for checking it out, Julian. Appreciate you. When you have time tomorrow, check out the new match video. Just curious what you guys think. Feedback you have. Still trying to, each time we make a video or do a live stream, we find a way to get a little bit better. Just like each round of golf, right? You're always trying to do the best you can. All right, so I'm gonna warm up with some wedges here and do some stretching. Then see how the body feels. Maybe we'll do some speed training. Maybe we'll save that for another day. Mixed results with the driver of late. I think some of that probably is to do with the speed training. Oh. Hear that crack? That was a good crack. Oh, hello, superstar. Hi. I didn't even get to hit one golf ball yet. You came to say hi. And she's off again. And turn this off for now, save the battery on our speed trainer. Julian said, "I'm definitely gonna check it out tomorrow." Awesome. Well, thanks, my dude. Yeah, definitely. Oh, still got my rain gear out here. There we go. Still dealing with this annoying hole in my finger, so I've had to make some adjustments to the grip a little bit. But I've been trying to do a bunch of tempo work, trying to keep everything nice and smooth. I think on the golf course I may be overdoing it a little, like I'm, not hitting the ball as far as I might typically, but again, I was talking about this morning with my buddy who I played with. Your golf swing is like a living, breathing kind of thing, right? Day to day, month to month, year to year. It's gonna look different, it might feel different. I've had periods where I'm hitting it super, super far, and times like this where it's more under control. Hit a lot of nice high draws today. That was kind of the shape that my eye was seeing. Beautiful now, but it rained all morning on us. A lot of adjustments you got to make when the course is wet, when the grass is wet. Tobin said missed. Well, missed what? Tell me what we missed. Gotta try to get this in where it goes. Yeah, there we go. Oh, let's see how it looks. Adam says, do you have any tips for not flipping wrists over after impact, after ball strike? Yeah, so a great way to work on that, right? If you're talking about really, getting flippy and throwing the club, right, like this, trying to square it up, that can be, lead to a lot of inconsistent contact. Practice hitting a lot of knockdown shots, right? Because you're going to want to feel, like you have to flight the ball down, right? You have to maintain this wrist angle here in order to lean the shaft and bring the flight down, right? So imagine trying to hit an 8-iron, but you're only trying to hit it, 100 yards, and you got to keep it super low. Imagine you're trying to hit it into a stiff wind, right? And that could really help you feel this idea of maintaining that wrist angle, right? We want the handle to be leading into the shot with an iron, right? You want to maintain this, right? Not throwing it, right? So practice hitting some of those nice low compressed ones. Almost like a Tommy Fleetwood feel, a 3/4 backswing to a nice tight compact finish, right? And you're going to find that really forces you to keep that handle going forward. Another thing, don't be afraid to set up to the ball that way, right? If you're saying like, hey, I'm having a hard time getting the hands forward, well, you can push the handle forward at setup, right? Why not make it easier to return the club to the position you started in, right? Where you get the handle, more this way. The hands are more on your thigh instead of on your zipper. Give that a try, see how it goes. Fishing Gaming with Miles said hi. Hey Miles, do you have any tips for staying down on the ball and not topping it? Yeah, so similar drill to what I was just describing, right? You want to work on, if you're topping it, that low point of your swing is too high, right? You're hitting the top of the ball. You want to be getting this, center part of the face on the back of the ball with some shaft lean, right? So what you need to do is work on moving that low point further back instead of up here where you might take the turf, right? And a great way to do that is hit some, little chip shots, like grab an 8 or 9 iron, try to hit it 50 yards in the air, right? But make sure when you do that drill that you take a nice divot, right? You hit the ball first and then the turf. And by slowing it down, right, making the swing smaller, you can practice your technique. In this case, working on your low point, right? And making the swing smaller, more manageable is a really, really effective way to practice your technique. Race car, I can get consistent straight and long shots on all my irons and wedges now. How do you go about learning to draw, fade more, and add spin to your shots? Great question. Hey, Sina's back. Sina from Spain. ¿Cómo te va? So if you want to learn shaping the ball, right, trying to curve the ball more intentionally, what I would have you do is, number one, understand what, how that happens, right? The face and path combination that causes a draw, right? A closed face and a path out to the right versus a fade, with a more open face and a path that's across it, right? And then from there, number one, I would tell you, if you're hitting it pretty straight, you can play really good golf hitting it straight. So, you very rarely need to intentionally curve the ball, right? Maybe in a recovery situation, slicing around a tree, something to that effect. But if you're in the fairway and you can hit a straight ball, you should probably just play a straight ball. That said, if you're like, hey, I still want to learn how to curve it, well, I would tell you, go to the extremes, right? Say, okay, what's the biggest slice that I could hit? Grab like a 6-iron, 7-iron, and just aim way left, pick a target and say, okay, I'm going and get it all the way across the whole range, right? And what do I have to do? You know, you might feel to take away the face, you know, be more held off and open, right? Let your body react to trying to create these shapes. And then vice versa, get over here and say, okay, I got to hit a massive, you know, rope draw, right? And that's going to teach you those feels and how to create the face and path relationships to create those shots. And then from there, it's just a matter of dialing it in, right? The one that turns into a huge slice, well, it's just somewhere in between your straight swing and the big slice, right, to hit a fade. And vice versa. If you can learn how to hit a big hook, well, then all you have to do is, you know, adjust some amount of the face or path. The face gets a little more open, and you can hit a draw. So hopefully that helps. My good problem is I can only fade consistently. When I try to draw, I screw up, and I'm fine with that. Yeah, again, if you can hit one shot very consistently, again, guys, the goal is, can you center your shot pattern over your target, right? If your target's at the green, you know, if you have to hit a big fade, well, you might have to aim at the left edge of the green. But if you're able to get all of your golf balls over a pretty, you know, consistent grouping, a tight dispersion, right? That's all we're after. The golf course doesn't know how you got it there, right? Whether you hit a 7-iron or a pitching wedge, whether you hit a low draw or a high fade, right? So the idea is really, can you aim your golf ball and your shot pattern appropriately? Sorry, guys. Allergies come for me every once in a while. That's okay. So yeah, here, guys, I'm just working on tempo, trying to feel just a little pause at the top almost. Take my own advice and make some smaller swings. Because even once you get to a pretty consistent point with your ball striking, you know, little tendencies will creep in. For me, it's been just a little bit of a toe strike. You know, just my strike pattern moving, you know, from the center over this way, right? So some of them are always going to be left or right of, you know, wherever your tendency is, but trying to have as many of them be close to the center as possible, right? Cena said I shot an 82 today, not my best, but that's my average, 80, 85. Oh, that's a good plan. My handicap right now is about 2, but it's usually a little bit lower than that. Played most of the last few years between, you know, +1 and 1. And then you start working on your game and your handicap goes up, which is funny. Michaels has been exclusively using irons to tee off. Don't own a driver. Should I go straight to a fitting or go use and get some swings in? Well, how much golf do you play, Michael? That could be an important question. Because if you're really into golf, you're like, hey, this is something that I'm going to be doing a lot. You know, I'm going to spend a lot of my free time doing this. Then definitely go for the fitting. You know, just know that you can try everything that's out there and get something that's optimized for your current swing. But if you're newer to golf, I would tell you, you know, probably better to invest that money in lessons or driving range time. Because there's a lot of, you know, golf clubs have been really good for quite a while now, right? You can get a driver from 5 years ago, and it'll still be pretty close to what you get for something brand new, you know, in terms of performance. And for, you know, 90% of recreational golfers, I think that's more than fine. I don't upgrade my equipment every year. I don't think most people do, you know, unless you're getting it for free. I met a guy today when I asked what his handicap was. He said, "What's a handicap?" Funny guy, shot 73. That's awesome. Funny Video Hub said, "Happy Gilmore, is that you? Imagine." Mr. Plod said, "You need a new tattoo." I agree. Cena said, nice net. Heard that's the best one. It definitely is, Cena. I haven't done any, like branding. I've had people reach out and, try to get me to sell their stuff on the channel. The only affiliate program that I've started doing, and I should put the link in the description, is for the net return. It really is just an awesome product. I'm convinced I'm going to be hitting into it for a decade. I've already packed it up and moved it. So I think it's a really, really well built piece of equipment. Let me see if I can get the link for you guys from one of the old streams. Put it in the description. Maybe for this one. Here we go. Will it let me do it right on here? That could be really cool if I can do it in real time. Boom, there it is, guys. So check that out if you're interested. You can save 10%, really good deal. It's a premium price, right? It's not the kind of thing that you're gonna, only use a handful of times. Nice hat, huh? Thanks, Cena. Mr. Kelgard said, your swing is on plane. I appreciate that. I have spent a lot of time trying to get it that way, have it kind of nicely, on this kind of single plane. I do need to figure out a better, like I need a little tray for the golf balls or something. That was hit really good. And see, that's the benefit of the net return, right? If I didn't have this platform here, if I had a flat hitting area, I could probably only use like 1 or 2 golf balls, right? And then it just bounces back. Plus, if you see the price of it and you're like, wow, that seems crazy. Well, for me, I just did the math and I was like, well, if I'm spending $20 to hit a large bucket of balls at the driving range, and if I want to do that twice a week, right? Like it very quickly gets to make sense to say like, okay, I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm going to have this at home and be able to hit unlimited golf balls. The only reason I'm not doing speed training is because I've been doing too much speed training, hitting too many golf balls, and I've, started blistering my fingers. Favorite sport besides golf to play or watch? Mine is golf, basketball, tennis to play and watch. Very cool, Cena. Cycling. Awesome. If I was to answer your question, I would say golf, football, like American football, the NFL, and then hockey, like professional ice hockey, would be my 3 in that order. Yeah, so see, I've had to really kind of weaken this right hand grip because of not being able to get much of the thumb on there, but that's a temporary problem. Michigan man said, hey John, I've hit a draw my entire life. In the last past 1 to 2 months, I keep slicing. I've tried almost everything. Any big tips that could help? Eduardo said, what brand is that net, bro? And what club are you using from W? Hey guys, welcome to the stream. This is an 8-iron that we're swinging at the moment. Eduardo, this is a Net Return Pro. If you're interested in learning more, check out the link in the description of the video. There's a code there. You can get a nice discount as well if you end up using the code to make a purchase. Okay, Michigan man, so if you're struggling to get back to hitting that consistent draw, right? Well, what do we need to have happen to get that ball curving right to left, right? It's mostly getting the face more closed, right? There's a lot of ways you can do that. You can do that, at address. You can do that, in the takeaway, right? By, turning the face down this way. Some people do it in transition. But generally, you need to get the face more closed to have that ball, again, start curving right to left. If the path of your swing has gotten really out of whack, you might start seeing it start left and go left, but that's, I would be surprised if that was the case. Nice, I'm a 49ers fan, and we have the Sharks, so not that fun. 49ers are a good team, though. You know, kind of suspect, or inconsistent, you could say. Year to year, but the good years have been really good lately. That was a really nice strike. Really happy with that one. I have the, you know, fortune or misfortune socially of being a Patriots fan. Let's see how this swing looks here. I like being able to watch it back in real time. So maybe a little posture we could clean up, but the plane looks really good. Yeah, you're welcome, Michigan man. If I were to give you, you know, one more drill or a kind of idea to work on, right? You could imagine that you're, you know, going to set up to hit the ball right down the fairway or right at the center of a green that's out there. But instead, force yourself to hit it, you know, in the trees, right? Really, you know, imagine like the whole right side is lava. You can't hit it over there. You've got to get that face more closed and that ball, you know, going right to left, right? Just try to hit some big hooks, you know? See if you can, you know, find a feel that worked for you to be able to see that ball drawing in if that's what you're looking for. You might have to really overdo it, hit some big draws to get the feeling back. And then, you know, you dial it in from there. So give that a try. I think I just need a little more. A little more of that in my setup. That's good. Who else has got questions? We're here hanging out on a Friday afternoon. It's a beautiful day. Already got to play 9 holes this morning. Did some work. My beautiful wife is up on the deck, hanging out. Got dogs running around. It's a great day. Great day to be hanging out, hitting some balls. Grateful to be here. Grateful for my sobriety. Thanks for being here, guys. Hey, Liam's here. What's up, Liam? Oh, like I just said, I was just saying, you know, things are good. Life is good. Lots to be grateful for. Really trying to exaggerate this, keeping the straighter back. I would like to make every iron swing just like that one. Just compact, crispy strike. Liam said, played 9 the other day, and I can officially say that I'm the world's most unlucky golfer. Wait, what happened? Tell me how you were so unlucky. I mean, I've definitely had rounds like that where you're like, man, I just cannot catch a break. Yeah, that swing looked really, really good. I'm thrilled with how that looks. Again, just remember that posture. Good balance. It's a labor of love, guys, but you just got to keep, you know, you find one area to work on, right? Like I just saw some, you know, the video and I was like, man, I got to clean up this posture. And it's just always that iterative process of trying to, you know, make very, very incremental. Sometimes we're talking about millimeters, right? You know, we're literal millimeters of strike position, you know, from a B- to an A type strike, you know? So when you're working on your game, if you get frustrated like I do sometimes, just remember that this is really hard. We're trying to swing a stick at 90 miles an hour into a tiny little ball. And it's going to take practice. It's going to take a lot of practice. So be kind to yourself when you're working on your game, when you're out playing. You know, celebrate the little victories. If you hit, you know, say it could be an easy shot. Say you have like a little straightforward chip and you hit it up to a couple feet, have an easy tap in par. You got to, you know, celebrate those little ones. Golf's hard enough, you know. I'm trying to be kinder to myself on the golf course. Pods, hey Pods. John said, I got my clubs coming today. Also had emergency ingrown toenail removal surgery, so I got new clubs, but can't play till next week if I'm lucky. Oh man, well I'm sorry to hear that, Pods. That is a tough blow. Anytime you get health stuff going on or unexpected procedures you got to work through, can really, you know, throw a wrinkle into your daily routine. But it sounds like you're doing your best to take it in stride and just say, okay, you know, we got to adjust our plan, adjust our expectations, try to get through this moment as best we can. That's really all you can do. But I'm glad that you got yourself taken care of, and it sounds like you're on the way to recovery. And even if you can't use them right away, getting new clubs in the mail is still very exciting. So I think you'll still have a good time opening up the package. If I explained everything I'd be here for the next 20 minutes, let's just hit the highlights. Almost broke my wrist hitting a ball out of the rough, but it was also on a tree root. Didn't realize that. Oh yeah, that's dangerous. I've seen people get pretty badly hurt by tree roots. Yeah, see, that posture looks much better. I'm much happier with that. Drove the ball fine like I usually do, but hit into divots 3 times on the fairway. Oh man. 3 times in 9 holes to hit it into a divot on the fairway is insane. Loppy Loud said, game is decent. I struggle off the tee with the driver. Any tips? Yeah, I think dialing it back to a speed where you feel like quite confident you can control the ball flight and, you know, keep it in a pretty reasonable dispersion, right? You might feel like you're swinging at 80%, 75% of what your maximum, you know, speed would be. But if you really struggle off the tee and if you start getting, you know, anxious about it, or you're like, hey, I'll just hit it at 4-iron because I don't even want to touch the driver, right? If you want to improve your scores, you're going to have to embrace the driver, learn how to, you know, get the ball further down the hole, give yourself closer looks into greens. You're going to hit more greens. You're going to hit it closer. So distance off the tee is certainly correlated to scoring capability. Happy with that strike there. Hey, the guy Hudson's here. What's up, Hudson? Wes said, yo, what's up, Wes? I hate fairway divots. I too suffered many great drives, ended up in a divot in the fairway. I know, it's the worst, right? It's just so frustrating. Like, I did what I was supposed to do. I hit a good tee shot. Now I got to deal with this. Feels like a penalty. Liam, it hurt like crazy. The needle to numb you hurt the most. Oh, boy. Thoughts on combo sets of irons? Solid stick with 790s now, but hate them. Too bulky, but don't want to lose out on mass on 4 and 5 irons. I think it's a great idea. One of my favorite iron sets of all time was the Nike VR Pro Combos. If you guys remember those from back in the day, I had those 3-through pitching wedge, and it was like a pretty forgiving, you know, cavity back in the 3 and 4 and 5 iron, I think, and then 6 and 7 were kind of like a tight cavity back like this, and then the 8, 9, and wedge was a blade. That was an awesome, awesome set of irons. Should have held on to those. All right, posture. Let's check. All right, pretty good. I think for me it's more just, you know, not getting so hunched this way, keeping the chest up, keeping this space. Really trying to focus on my tempo and my balance with these swings here, guys. And obviously, like always, we're focused on the strike, trying to hit the center of the club face. Do you know how to generate more spin with wedges and short irons? Yeah, so spin is really just a function of, what's called spin loft. How much speed goes into the ball and what the dynamic or effective loft at impact is. I would tell you, unless you're having a hard time stopping the ball on the green, right, you generally don't want to see your golf ball spinning back aggressively when it lands, right? You want to kind of have a one hop and stop kind of spin profile so that you can have your ball stop as close to where it lands as possible. You really don't want to see, sometimes you see pros hit it, 30 feet beyond the pin and they're pulling it back. That's mostly because they can't control the spin. So just be careful when you're chasing that. But generally, you got to make good contact and hit the center of the face, with enough speed and the ball will spin. Tay himself did my first driving range yesterday. It was awesome. Had way more better hits with the 56 pitching wedge and 7-iron. Did 70 yards with 56 degree, 120 with the wedge, 157 iron. That's awesome. Glad you're having fun getting out there. I'll be all right. It'll make coming back to the course that much sweeter. Great attitude, Pods. I love that for you. Jason said hi. Hey, Jason. Is All Saints where you got all your tats from? That's funny. It's not, but I do. It's very funny you say that. I am a big fan of the All Saints brand. I have a lot of their clothing. I think we'll do some caddy drags after this, trying to still maintain that good posture. Right, caddy drag is where we let the hands kind of pull the club and we're trying to feel that compression as almost like a chain reaction, right? By we started this way and then we want to end up in this kind of position. It's a very old drill. When I was first reading about it, it was talking about how Ben Hogan used to teach people this drill. So you go, woo, boom. Somehow my collection of golf balls out here has continued to grow. Get them lined up here in our extremely official little setup here. Someday, guys, someday, we're gonna get maybe some sponsors or, a partner, somebody who's gonna help us really make this outdoor hitting space special. Love that. So spin comes with ball striking. Wes said, also please gently tap the thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks, Wes. I appreciate you that call to action in the chat. Where do you buy your golf shorts? There's a brand called Primo that makes really good golf shorts that I like. I've had good luck with the Under Armour ones in the past too. What's the biggest event you've ever played in? That's a good question. I played in a couple national championships in college for club golf. That was pretty fun. Played in some regional club-based tournaments, that are been going on for 100 years kind of thing. Those are always fun. Team-based kind of event. I played in state AMs and things like that. So, no US AMs or mid AMs yet, but I would love to qualify for one of those events someday. Liam says, I can't shallow the club at the moment. Got to play the steep fade because of the injury. Yeah, I've been there. Sometimes you just got to figure out, how to get it around. I can't. New golfers hit the range and learn to hit the ball before going on a course. Yes, that is a great point. I suggest playing a par 3 course before hitting a normal course. Great. Yes, another good point. Totally agree. Par 3 courses are really good, guys. They kind of get a bad rap, being it's not legit, it's just a par 3 course. But if you're working on your game, there's really no better way to practice scoring, work on your ball striking. I think par 3 courses are really, really underrated as a way to practice, personally. Xander says, how do I stop slicing my driver? I've got a good drill for you. What we're going to do is, I'll grab my driver, grab our tee too, even though I don't think it will stand up. You're going to need your head cover, right? We're going to use this head cover for the drill. If you struggle with a slice, this is a great drill to try. Right, so we got our ball teed up there. Grab your head cover, put it down behind the ball and slightly to the right, like this. All right? What this is going to do is block that outside in path to the ball. Most people struggle with a slice because the club head gets inside and then over the top this way, right? And then the face is opening to try and get it to go straight. And then what happens is you're cutting across the ball with an open face. It's going to produce that high spinny shot that goes to the right pretty, substantially sometimes. So by doing this drill, right, what you're trying to do is make sure that that over the top path of the ball is blocked. And if you can do the drill successfully and not hit the head cover, right, then you're well on your way to, getting that path into the ball more neutral. And the biggest tip I would give you to try and accomplish this is make sure that that club head stays nice and wide in the takeaway, right? You don't want it getting in here and the hands go out this way. You want the hands to stay in, and that club head stays nice and wide, right? We're trying to swing it on a big arc to generate speed. That will also give you this space, right, to let the club fall in here so you can hit it, right? If the club head's in here, there's nowhere to go, right? You can just kind of throw it, or you can go over and try and get to it that way, right? So give yourself a nice amount of room in the takeaway, and then if you can miss the head cover, right, you should be well on your way to seeing that ball fly a lot straighter, maybe even draw through the air. Pods, what size glove do you wear, and did it influence the grips on your clubs? No, I don't think so. I wear a medium-sized glove. I like feeling it nice and tight on around my hand. And I have jumbo-sized grips on my clubs. So I don't think there's a big correlation. But I think I have kind of strange hands. I have very short fingers and large, hands. So it's not a perfect way to tell by just the glove size. I listened to an interesting podcast called The Sweet Spot recently. Well, I've talked about it before. I listen to it regularly. But this episode specifically was about grip size, and this guy up in Canada who did a series of studies trying to fit people into different grips, seeing the effects on their ball striking. And his main takeaways were, don't be afraid to try bigger grips. And he wished that mid-size was considered standard, right? So said another way, standard grips are probably too small for most people to get optimal results. And don't be afraid to play around with your grip size, right? I've gone from a standard grip to this built-up jumbo grip, in just the last 6 months. So certainly there's been some element of adjusting to that and trying, seeing my scores go up. Mike says, I first saw your shirt and thought it said Mustang, but now I realize it just says that you are gay. It does say that, actually. It just says right here, it says, I am gay. Proud of you, Mike. Par 3 courses are really fun, in my opinion. I agree. Slow your swing down to avoid slicing or hooking. You create ball spin left or right, and slowing your swing down lessens the ball spin off your ball. That probably is true, and it's a great way, to get around the course when you're learning, but eventually you do need to learn to control that club face and, apply more speed to the swing. But it's a great point if you're just a beginner. Yeah, you're welcome, Xander. I hope it works. Tay himself, any beginner tips? Yeah, so my best beginner tip is spend a lot of your practice time working on impact, right? And what do I mean by that? Impact is, when I'm talking about that, like the 2 feet before you hit it, and maybe the 2 feet after, right? So kind of everything down here in the swing. And that's mostly what matters, right? You can swing it all kinds of, up here and under, or inside and over, right? But if you get that club face back to square, and you can control, the face to path relationship and produce a good strike on the ball, that's all the golf ball cares about, right? It's just physics. So if you're a beginner, when you go to the driving range, when you have time to practice, I would tell you maybe do 10% of your total practice, right? So if you're 100 golf balls, hit 10 of them at full speed, right? Where you're making a full swing and you're trying to hit it to a target. Ideally you've gone through some sort of pre-shot routine where you're really, practicing your execution, like trying to hit it at a target. But most of your practice time should be spent, how can I, within, the feels and my own athletic ability, learn how to get this club face back onto that golf ball, right? And what that looks like is just hitting a lot of slow speed, chip shots like this, right? I have an 8-iron, and I might be trying to hit this 8-iron 40 yards, 50 yards, right? But what you're working on is getting that face back onto that ball squarely, right? So you hit the ball and then the turf. We want to see that ball flying pretty straight through the air. But by slowing it down and making the swing smaller, that will really help speed up the rate at which you can improve your technique when it comes to ball striking. So give that a try. I found that to be really helpful. Pride says, I was thinking about trying mid-size. I would definitely give it a try. Definitely worth a shot. Activity said, how to drive. How to drive. Well, I start by turning the car on, and I back out of the driveway. No, I'm just kidding. So the drive is definitely a different, swing than an iron, right? Our goal is different. With an iron, we're trying to hit the ball first and then the ground. With the driver, the club is, the ball's teed up. We want to launch it high into the air with not a lot of spin, right? So how do we do that? Setup-wise, what I've been working on a little bit is trying to keep this left hip high, this left shoulder high, right? To prime myself to hit that ball up into the air, right? Whereas with an iron, it's more, the hands are forward, you're more on top of it, right? So set up kind of like that. And then from there, it's just, you swing the club around your body as you turn. Try to get the face back on the ball squarely. Easy, dogs. Okay. Come here, boy. All right, so I'm going to turn the swing speed radar on now. Try and make some swings with the driver. See if we can get that golf ball to stay. What club are you hitting? I was hitting the 8-iron, Hudson. I know, they're nuts. And then I got intrigued by hitting the driver. Buddy, no more digging. It does look like maybe the golf ball is going to stay on there for us. All right, so again, set up kind of like this. .285. Sir, you can't be in the shed. No, out, out. Man, I love these doggos, but sometimes they are just nuts. Chihoito said hi. Hey, Chiho. John said, hi there, can't stop topping the ball. Any advice? Yeah, so my advice, if you're topping it, right, is if that low point in your swing is getting too far forward, right, ideally we want that low point just in front of the ball, so we'd be hitting ball first in the turf, right? But if you're topping it, your low point is too far forward, right, and you're hitting the top of the ball. So that often comes from, leaning too far like this in the downswing, right? But what I would have you do to practice, grab like an 8 or 9 iron, and you got to really just slow it down, right? You can make full swings at like 50% speed, or what I would have you do is really just hit some half swings and practice hitting the ball first and then the turf, right? And by slowing it down, that's going to really allow you to build your technique, learn the skill of hitting the ball first and then the ground, right? So you want to hit the ball and then make a divot, and just make some little half swings. Don't swing it into the wood. And give that a try. Right now, a wedge and a 3-wood. Which other clubs do I need as a beginner or just in general? So that's perfectly fine. I mean, I might, you know, as you acquire more clubs, you know, you certainly need a putter. But, you know, a driver or a 3-wood, a putter, some sort of wedge, maybe like an 8-iron and a 5-iron, you can be well on your way to, you know, getting out, having fun at the range, hitting some balls. 7-iron for practice when starting. Oh, hey, Sensum, welcome back. Best tip to get rid of my snap hook with my driver. I hit my irons fine, but I'm battling with the driver. Yeah, so if you're snap hooking it, right, that just mostly is telling me that the face is too closed at impact, right? So if you're getting the path way out to the right and the face is really shutting down, right, you're going to cause that ball to really get going right to left. So the opposite of the slice, right, you could put your head cover down on the inside here, right, and force yourself to hit some shots where you avoid that head cover, right, and feel like that path is getting more to the left and the face is going to need to be more open, right, to see that ball start you know, flying straighter for you. So you could also, you know, another way to practice would just be practice hitting some fades, right, 5 fades in a row, or, you know, big slices, right, and then go back to trying to hit your straight ball, you know, your normal draw. Because again, you're just trying to adjust, you know, that face and path relationship into the impact. I always hit my balls insanely high with low irons and wedges. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Ron said hi. Hey, Ron. What's up, guys? If you guys are enjoying the stream, you want to hit that subscribe button. We do have this live tracker. We were streaming last night upstairs on the putting green, and we set a new record, 223 5-footers in a row we made. And obviously our subscriber count is outdated now, so I'm going to get a current subscriber count. And if you guys are a new subscriber, you're like, hey, I'm watching the stream, I just subscribed, just give me a shout. I'll give you a shout out. And we'll update it in real time, which is always pretty fun. So let's see. Quite likes to go as fast when all right, so 2920, right, current subscriber count. So if you want a shout out, drop it in the chat. Do you ever miss the net? I have not missed the net on a full swing. I did chip one over the net by accident. What is your favorite club? Well, most days it's driver. Most days it's driver. How many more times do I hit the range before trying a course? Well, I would say, you know, 2 or 3 times is probably enough, and then you could go out to, like, you know, play 9 holes or play a little par 3 course. Hey, Albert said he subscribed just now, so we're going to get this updated. And shout out to you, Albert. Really appreciate that, my dude. I'm continually blown away by the amount of support, the new subscriber growth. Every time we come on and do these live streams or post a new video, seriously, guys, I'm very, very grateful. So thank you. Thanks, Albert. Shannon said, new to your stream, my friend. Hey, Shannon. What shaft is on that driver? Good question, Spencer. This is an Oban Kiyoshi purple. It's a 0.5 flex 65 gram shaft. I've had this in the driver for quite a while now. Another tip that would be helpful for driver is how to hit up on it. Good question, Brady. So this is kind of what I was describing earlier, right? But you can tee it higher, and then at setup, what I've been trying to do is feel almost, you know, imagine you're trying to get this right hand down to touch your ankle, right? And you're trying to almost set up like that, right? With this left shoulder higher than the right. This left hip is higher, right? And that's how you can really get the launch angle up into the air right? Again, it's mostly driven by the shoulders, where the shoulders are pointed. Just like with our irons, we want to kind of be more on top of it, cover it with the chest. So different swing, different objective. Shannon said, subscribe myself. Amazing. Thanks very much, Shannon. Shout out to you. We're going to go 29:22 in real time. Shout out to you, Shannon. Albert says, I'm really into golf as well. Very cool. Well, I'm welcome. You know, I'm glad to have you here on the channel, and we're going to keep learning, growing, trying to get better. You know, trying to get to where we can do a live stream every day. Not the best strike. 280. Ugh. Ball speed is way down. Ugh. Also, this, you know, just an inside scoop, guys. This is like the very, you know, most basic launch monitor you can have. Tay, I subscribed to about 8 minutes ago. Just came into golf after doing security for 2 years in a row. Awesome. Well, thanks very much, Tay. I appreciate that. We're going to give Tay a shout out and update 29:23. Super, super cool, guys. Shout out to you. Trying to help make dreams come true. $274. $275, 106. Ugh. See, now this is what happens. I start hitting drivers, and I'm like, man, I just want to smash drivers. Golf Shots said, awesome. Is 23 a bad age to be because I want to go pro? No, there's never too late to do anything. My opinion. I think if you believe in yourself and you put the work in that's required and you get a little bit of luck, sure, you could do that. I wouldn't tell you it's going to be easy. There we go. Back up to 285, so that feels better. 23 is not a bad age. No, 23 is a great age. Enjoy it. That wasn't hit very good. Yeah, I'm not gonna do any speed training today, guys. Try and give the old body a few more days to recover. But fun to hit some drivers. Byron, what's your handicap? Right around 2 right now. But it's been going up, unfortunately, due to lack of golf. I tell people it's usually between +1 and 1. Yeah, again, not hit very well. 107, 281. There we go. You got that John Daly backswing. Yeah, it does. It definitely can get a little bit long. I agree with that. Have you ever got under the ball and has gone miles over the fence? No. Why lack of golf? Make it your profession like this. Go on the course and score well and film it and show your personality. Endless golf hack. Yeah, well, working on it. You know, we actually today, guys, if you want to check out, what it looks like to watch me play golf and play a match against a buddy who's also a good player, that video is live now. Just posted that as of 5 o'clock. So go check that one out. Drop a like and a comment on the new video. But yeah, I'm glad, Byron, I'm glad you said that because, that is where I'm trying to get to with this, right? Maybe not be 100% of my, income, but some portion of it, right? We've only been doing this for 6-7 months, and I'm already, I'm thrilled with how much support and growth we've had already. So I'm pretty confident that, if I keep showing up and putting a consistent effort into it, that all those kinds of things will continue happening, right? We've already done a whole bunch of good stuff, 3 million views, almost 3,000 subscribers, guys, in 6 to 7 months. It's really, really awesome. Byron said, subscribe, bud. Oh, thanks, Byron. Well, Byron, what you may not know is you get an extra shout out for being awesome, and you get the honor of being subscriber number 2924. Thanks for being here. We do a live tracker and also use that, extremely official, guys, doesn't get any more official than this, right? Use that when we do our putting practice inside. If you guys saw the stream last night, we made a new record on the channel, 223 5-footers in a row. .104, 280. Yeah, it's just getting the strike quality up. Right, you don't have to swing super hard at it. All right, I think that's enough drivers for now, unless somebody else has driver-specific questions. Go back to working on the irons. Actually, you know what? I said that, but I don't think I am. I'm going to keep hitting drivers because I got to figure out a way to get the speed up and still make a balanced swing. .105, 280. Oops. Put this there it goes. Also, this is definitely higher than I would normally tee up a driver on the golf course, but just got to adjust. .106, 278. Byron said, "Woo, get it, bud." Hey, RST's back. Hey, RST. Welcome back, my guy. Appreciate you. .104, 275. My goal is to really, try and get the speed up while maintaining my balance. .106, 275. JJR said hi. Hey, JJR. Appreciate you. There we go, guys. 109, 290. Getting there. Evie's back. Hey, can you show me how you set up the lead hand wrist? Yeah, so for me, well, it's, you know, pretty similar with the driver and the irons, but for me, I like to see this V right here pointed at my right shoulder, right? So you could probably see about 3 knuckles. And we want this, the club mostly in our fingers, right? In a nice strong position. A good way to test this, right, is imagine you were gonna swing an iron with just your lead arm, right? And you can play around with this. Let's really exaggerate like a super weak grip, right? Where the hand is on the bottom of the club. And you want to generate speed into the ground. Well, boom, I mean, that's going to feel terrible, right? There's no really way to generate speed. Let's make it a little more neutral, right? Well, now we're starting to get somewhere. We can get a little more power in there, right? But if I get my hand on top here, in the fingers and really on top like this, I mean, now I'm really in business, right? Boom, I can, you know, generate a lot of force, right? So play around with how that feels, and, you know, I generally tend to tell people stronger is better, you know, stay in control of that club face. So that's a really good way to give you a sense. Down. Getting there. Oops. All right. Oh, 7, 278. Ooh. What I'm really hoping to do, guys, you know, in the next, you know, 6 months or so, is find a partner, somebody who does, you know, launch monitors, to really upgrade this space, you know, like get a Rapsodo out here, something where I could, you know, have a screen and maybe show you guys some more stuff, get some data. You know, we could probably play golf if we had one of those simulators as well. Oh, 6, 279. It is hard to feel like I'm able to get much into it with, I mean, guys, we've got this right hand like fully, this is as weak as it'll go, right? You know, I've got no right thumb really on the club at all. What's the right stance, legs, back, and arm positioning? Great question, Bradley. So generally speaking, if you're just getting started, right, you want to, you know, have an athletic stance, maybe a little bit wider than shoulder length, shoulder width, I should say. Right? Some amount of bend from the hips, right? Not really in your knees. You don't want to look like this, like you're sitting in a chair, right? But just a relaxed kind of bend forward from the hips. Where your arms fall naturally is kind of a good place to start for how far away you want to stand from the ball, right? Or where you'd want your grip to come in, right? You know, if you're too far, your arms will come in, and vice versa, right? If you're too close, your arms will want to hang further away from you. So find that natural, you know, spot where they hang underneath you. And that's pretty much your setup, right? You know, you want keep the chest open and tall, right? From this angle, it should look like a pretty straight line, you know, from my tailbone to my top of my head, right? So something like that, and then I'd be in here, right? And that's my setup position. So hopefully that helps. $107, $289. I'm really enjoying this, guys, as a different kind of practice because with the speed sticks, right, the only feedback we have is the club head speed number. Whereas obviously doing this, I still need to, try and hit the ball. I'm trying to hit the center of the club face whilst trying to generate more speed. $285. All we got there was 108 club. There we go, 110, 292. Mary wants to know how to hit a sand wedge. Good question, Mary. So general kind of principles for you would be, you don't want the ball position, we're talking about a full swing, right, with a sand wedge, and maybe like 100 yards, 80 yards type shot, depending on your speed. Ball position is going to be pretty close to the center, maybe a fraction back, if anything. You're going to want to make sure that this handle, shaft, is leaning towards your target. And then from there, especially with the wedges, I like to feel pretty compact, almost three-quarter type backswing, right? Just where the lead arm gets the parallel, and the same on the way through. Right? With a wedge, it's more about distance control and accuracy than it is about speed. So just make a nice compact swing. And that's what I would tell you to do with a wedge. Good morning from Japan, very cool. Where should the butt end of the club be pointing? Generally speaking, pointed like at your body, right? That's when they say, talk about, keeping the club in front of you, right? That's what they're talking about, trying to keep that connection between the chest and the club, right? At the top, you want it kind of pointed back at the golf ball. That's what I was always taught. Keeping it on the plane, up and back. $107, $283. I wish there was a way for you guys to be able to see the launch monitor output in real time too. That would be cool. Oh, that was close. Follow through drill to prevent my chicken wing. Good question, Yipski. So the best drill I could tell you to do for that is the towel drill, right? And I don't have a perfect example. Hey, I can use these rain pants, right? Imagine this is a towel, like a golf towel. And what you're gonna do is tuck it under your armpits like this, right? And you're gonna make some swings where you make sure that this doesn't fall, right? If you do the chicken wing through impact, right, what's gonna happen? You disconnect here and lose the towel, right? So when you make those swings, you gotta feel like you keep that towel in place, and the same thing on the way through, right? So keep your chest turning to maintain that connection, right? So something like that, right? Where you really feel, you know, you're not losing control of it, you're not getting disconnected. And this works on the backswing too, right? If your right arm starts flying up like this, boom, you lost it again. So you can hit shots like this too. You know, keep that towel in place. Hit some shots. So that should definitely help with your chicken wing problem. Mason said hi. Hey Mason. Tim, if I'm healing it a lot, is that an open face or swing path issue? Hard to say. Generally speaking, it's probably more because the face is open, right? If you think about it, you know, if you were to present the heel more, you would also open the face, right? And vice versa, if that face is shut, the toe is going to get there first. So I'd work on trying to get that face a little more square at impact. And then if you continue to heal, right, you can play around with, you know, standing further from it, adjusting your setup. You know, give yourself an intention. Say like, hey, I'm going to try to hit 10 balls in a row out of the toe. And try to practice moving your strike around the face to build your skills, right? So for me, I've been hitting a lot of balls out of the heel. Well, when I'm practicing, I'll be like, okay, you got to hit it. You got to hit it out of the other side. So if my normal strike is on the toe, I'm going to try to hit it on the heel, right? So you can give that a try. Can you show a slice shot example? Yeah, so if you're slicing it, right, the face is going to be open and cutting across it this way, right? Imagine like in tennis, if you wanted to hit a spinny lob shot, right? You'd open the racket and cut down and across it. Same thing's happening with the driver. So to correct the slice, you got to get that path more neutral, right? Out further out to the right, and the club face more closed at impact. Just remember, guys, club face is king. The club face is really what's gonna, you know, have a huge impact on the shape, the trajectory of your shots. A little golden hour I can feel coming on now, guys. See, as far as I'm concerned, I'm allowed to swing as hard as I want. I just have to hold the finish and make a balanced. .108 club again. How do you hit a soft swing with a powerful swing at the same time? It's just a lot of practice. Hey, Clicks is here. Hey, Clicks. You know, just you learn over time the tempo and the balance, right, is just as important as the pure speed generation. MSU says, have a problem swaying on downswing. Always been told to turn behind ball, but I guess I don't feel like I get a good weight transfer. Thoughts? Yeah, good point, MSU. You know, weight transfer is such an important part of this. What I would tell you to do is practice away from the golf swing, just that movement, right? That practicing of, you know, shifting the weight to this thigh here, and then in your transition, it's the weight shift that starts the downswing, right? And then everything else follows. But just practice that, you know, backswing, weight shift, you know, sequence away from the golf ball. Congrats on 40 likes on the stream. Thanks, Clicks. I appreciate it. How about 50, guys? If you're in here and you want to get us to 50, that'd be pretty cool. Let's see. If I can get the club head speed over 110, let's get 50 likes on the stream, huh? .109. That also was not hit very well. 109 again. See, the balance restraint is so important, I think. Whew. Everyone like and subscribe to help out John. Thanks very much, Clicks. I appreciate that. That's 110, 297. Pretty happy with that. Strike there. There we go, guys. Over 110. That's 111. Club head speed with the actual driver and my good strike. That was our goal for today. We started at like 104. So, you know, you do enough swings, you get the heart rate up. Practice swinging faster. You know, we've got this launch monitor for feedback, even if it's not perfect. $111 again, 297. $111, 295. Just trying to go in at a pretty rapid pace, try to keep the energy up. That felt fast. 112, 301. Got one over 300 yards, guys. Live on the stream, into the net, pretty cool. Guess what, guys? You can hit it that fast to your net return and not have any issues. My MJ12 Edit said hi. Hey, MJ. What's up, my dude? Let's go, 113. It was a bad strike, a little low on the face, but that was a very, you know, felt pretty smooth, balanced swing. Hey, Andrew Henkel's back in here. What's up, Andrew? Check it out, guys, 113. The driver hitting balls in here. How do you grip it, Stearnsy asks? I grip it in the fingers, right, with the left hand on top here. Like this. Right hand I overlap like this. You know, my pinky's on the top of my other hand here. Right hand's kind of on top. $113 again, 166 ball speed, it said. 303 total. That's a good one. Let's see. Nokia phone said, I'm legit going to hit 3 house away from here with the setup. No amount of net can trap my ball and I'll manage to go over. That's really funny, Nokia. What are you aiming at when hitting the ball? Well, right now we're just doing speed training with this guy, right? So, oh, it's hard to see because of the sun. Maybe that's easier. I'm aiming at getting the ball speed and the club head speed as high as I can. It's 111 again. $113 again, 166. Come on, let's get 114. No, 112. That's at 168 ball speed though, guys. That's the fastest we've seen so far today. 168. Oh, it's gonna be hard to see. Pretty happy with that. Try to keep the heart rate up. 114. That's what we're looking for. $112. $112 again. 167. 305. I grip it similar, but I slice every drive. My irons I hit straight and far. Well, there's something to be said for that. No, didn't get through that one. 111. No, that was hit low in the face. Let's go, guys. 114 club head speed. Pretty balanced swing, too, it felt like. Check this out. Let's see if the shadow helps. Andrew says, I have trouble keeping my lead arm straight. Is there a drill for that? Yeah, so again, try the towel drill, Andrew. Right, I'm gonna, imagine this is a towel, not a pair of rain pants. But what you want to do is maintain the connection here. What's the lead arm? Lead arm, if you're a right-handed player, would be your left arm, right? The lead one, the one that's closest to the target. So maintaining this connection, right? And when you're trying to make that wide swing, it's going to force you to keep this arm straight, right? And hit some shots where you keep this towel in place, making a connected swing, right? This will help too if you chicken wing on the way through, right? Boom, I lost it. So this is going to help you not to chicken wing it. Give that one a try, Andrew. All right. What do you think? 115? Or 113? What I really got to get is like a Rapsodo with the what are they called? RCT, RTC balls? Something like that, guys. Where it tracks. $113 again. All right, come on. Let's get the speed up. $113 again. Come on. $114 again. That's good. Come on now, 115. Nope, 112. Drills for increasing ball speed. Well, that's what we're doing right now, guys. Just swinging the driver really fast, a whole bunch. But you can also use a system like super speed or the stack. And get yourself a launch monitor. There we go, 114 again. So we're getting to that number, you know, somewhat comfortably now. And 13 again. I used to hit a lot of baseballs and the front arm is bent. Is the saw at the top of your swing the same as baseball? No, it's definitely different, right? Given the fact that you're bent over, the ball's on the ground. I think there are some similarities, Billy. You know, you don't have to be too harsh. Yeah, there are definitely some similarities in the ability to generate speed in a rotational way, right? 12 again. One 13, 303. All right, so we're pretty comfortably getting these over 300 yards with regularity, guys. Whew, come on, 115. Oh, 113 again. Come on. 14, 307. One 14 again. I miss it. Come on, 115. A little faster. 114 again. Come on, right there. Ah, 113. Just a little bit faster than that last one. Come on. 113 again, 304. One 12. Come on, let's ramp it up. Come on. Gosh, 113 again, 300. Come on, 115. No, 113 again. All right. Not being harsh, you could compare golf to tennis, which is more plausible. Love the grind. Saying speed, 113, 307. Oh, total. Like, yeah, 307 total was 294 carry. So yeah, no, it was on the total setting. Good call, Bill. 113 clubhead speed. Andrew says, got to go be back another time. All good. What device are you using? This is a PRGR. Yep, portable watch monitor. It's not my favorite. Hit the weights, LOL. Well, I'll tell you guys, in college, I swung it 121 was my fastest on TrackMan. I was like, so 180 ball speed, 181 ball speed, something like that. And then, I had a bunch of injuries, hurt my back a bunch. And a couple of years ago, when I got fit for a driver, my max clubhead speed, like the fastest I could get it, was, I don't know, 103, 104. So to be getting up to, 114 with an actual driver, I've made a lot of progress, right? Fixing my back, getting in shape, right? I lost, I don't know, 80 pounds. Bill says you like it. I think it's okay. I think it's definitely best for driver and for like the speed training for clubhead speed stuff. I don't think it's particularly consistent. It doesn't get good reads consistently when hitting irons into the net. So I'm hoping to upgrade to something like a Rapsodo MLM 2 Pro, at some point here in the not too distant future. But yeah, we're gonna be happy with that. 295 carry. All right, I could live with that all day long, I have an old baseball injury that irritates my inner elbow. Yeah, that's a tough one too. For me, it's always been the back. My lower back has been through some battles, we'll say that. It's been through some battles. But, day to day, guys, pretty good. I mean, I used to be in like pretty debilitating pain on a daily basis. And to, do a whole bunch of stretching and yoga and weightlifting to get it back to being functional for the most part on a daily basis, and be able to do this kind of stuff like speed training. I won't tell you it's easy, but it's definitely possible, right? That's one of the reasons I started this channel. Not my back necessarily, but, trying to share some of this stuff with you guys that like, hey, if you want to do something different with your life, whether that's work, whether it's your golf game, your weight, your mental health, right? You can fix these things. You can make them better. You can make tangible steps to improving. What shaft are you playing in driver? That's an Oban Kiyoshi Purple 05 Flex. I think it's 65 grams. And I've got the same one in my 3-wood and 5-wood, although the 3-wood's on the bench, has been for some time. So yeah, guys, I mean, just, don't forget to believe in yourselves. Keep working hard out there. Golf made me more social. Yeah, great point, right? There's lots of, positives to come from getting into golf, whether you've been playing for a long time or just a beginner. So hit that subscribe button for me, guys. We'll keep back, we'll come back, keep doing more of these live streams, showing the process, showing the grind of trying to get better, trying to get back to where we started the year. Started the year as a +1 handicap, and now I'm a 2 point something. So it can happen fast. But yeah, appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next time. Man, that glare is tough. Thanks for being here, Bill. I appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button for me if you want.